It's Randy Wicker. I've been here at Capital Trans Pride, where they've had a really kind of a convention here, and I'm talking to...
This is Jessica McKinnon.
And
I'm the chair of Capital Trans Pride, and I could not be prouder right now. We just had a phenomenal event. I believe I'm still waiting for the exact figures, but it's somewhere in the region of 250 to 300 people that were involved and attended. It was absolutely incredible. We had extraordinary talent this year. We were fortunate enough to have Diego Sanchez of Barney Frank's office do our keynote speech.
yeah, I taped that, and I'll be posting parts of his speech on YouTube.
Well, thank you very much for doing that. Another great highlight of the day was our feature comedian, Ian Harvey, who came all the way out from Los Angeles to perform for us, and to a literally packed hall here. And to me, that
by the way, let me tell you, he was so funny. I mean, he talked about going through security, and he had his apparatus in a bag, and the security guard pulls it out and shakes this velvet bag and says, can I, as if what's in it? And then he began feeling, and finally he said, using a more common phrase, my genitalia, so to speak, he says the quickest way to end a security check. It was absolutely hilarious. And he was really, I think, one of the most able, and I never thought of trans people being funny. I think maybe because I've known so many and they're dealing with such serious problems, to find someone who can joke about something so personal and deep in a way that's really very educational.
Well, actually, I think Ian is one person that I actually really identify with myself, because I think going through a transition like this, you almost have to have a really good sense of humor, because if you don't, it's just going to be so depressing when it's almost a guarantee that you're going to lose friends along the way. You may even lose family along the way, and it's sad when that happens. But you know what? When some of these things happen, like the odd bathroom incident, or just the odd airport incident, for example, you really have to be able to look back on that and just laugh about it and see it for what it is. It's just something that happened, and see the humor in it, and this is your life. Don't get all worked up about.
And one of the things they mentioned, I gather, was this the first announcement when he mentioned that next Thursday they're going to start making it where passports are.
Right. As of this coming Thursday, if a transgender person wants to change the gender marker on their U.S. passport, they will no longer be required to have what's called sex reassignment surgery or genital reassignment surgery. And that, to me, is just incredible, that we are being recognized as people and not being recognized, and not as people who have to have some kind of a surgery to change a particular part of our body just to be able to have something small like a gender marker changed on a passport.
Because I had an employee who was trans, and she had to come back to me. She'd worked for me 5 years earlier. You would never in a million years have dreamed that. I don't think she had finished it, but they demanded that she have a paycheck in her given legal name, although I don't know where, she was somewhere in between, because I'm sure she probably had her name changed, but still technically was by law. And it was one nasty person, one nasty transphobic bureaucrat. And you know what it's like in this world. Someone gets it in, doesn't like you for some reason. I don't care whether you're trans or you're Mexican or whatever the excuse is, they can really make your life miserable. So who financed this? I mean, was it all free, or was there registration?
No, it's all very much self-financed. It's one of these things where we pull money out of nowhere almost. As you can imagine, an event like this certainly doesn't cost nothing, but we ask people to reach out at the bottom of their hearts to donate, to help us out by not charging us exorbitant fees for performances and things like that. We still do need to pay key people, every single one of the volunteers, every single person on my committee, including myself, we're all volunteers. We don't do this professionally. We're not event organizers, and that's why
she certainly did a fantastic job, because this was really one of the most professionally run as any event I've ever attended. I mean, I really was impressed.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, as a software engineer by trade, to me,
it was a snap for a software engineer. Right?
All this, today, just kind of, it's a dream come true. It really is.
I arrived a little bit late, and I didn't get to check in at one of the things that you mentioned in closing too. I think the Transform station. Why don't you explain to me what that was?
Well, actually, that's something that I'm actually very, very proud of myself, because that was actually my idea, and that was to have what I fondly call the transformation station. It's a corny name, but essentially a lot of people in our community, especially when they're first coming out and kind of feeling the water, they really, a lot of people are still afraid to come out at home, and an event like this could very well be like the first time that they have an opportunity to actually come out and actually be comfortable with who they are. So what we did was we dedicated a room with makeup specialists, hair specialists, people doing manicures, pedicures, helping people with their wardrobe even, wigs, everything. Just helping people to just be able to feel their best and to just be able to enjoy the day as much as they possibly could. And I'm so glad that there were as many people that took advantage of that this year as there were.
Well, I can tell you, I've just grown my hair long for the second time in 40 years, and I suddenly started studying about doing hair. I didn't know about combs that you curl them in, so when it dries, it curls in instead of out, and two-layer combs with different edge teeth. And I'm just a male trying to become a little bit freer and a little bit more glamorous. I'm genderqueer, not trans, although, and I've had a lot of good friends that were trans.
Well, as a genderqueer person, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you are just as much part of the broader transgender family as anybody else is.
Well, believe me, I'm as big a misfit. I think I'm more of a misfit than most of my trans friends. So that was really an experience, so people could come here that maybe had always wanted to express their gender differently, I guess we would say. The way they felt, like I've always felt like a female, I've always felt like a male, but it doesn't match my biological gender. So you would give them the first basic tips of how, now if you're going to start going out and changing your gender socially, you have to learn to do this and that, right? What is the main thing they have to do? Is it makeup, or is it dressing, or is it?
As far as I'm concerned, it's really not so much about any of those physical things. To me, it's about being confident and being comfortable with who you are. What I've said to many people is that confidence it's contagious, and if you are confident, then the person that you're with will be more confident just conversing with you. If you are feeling uncomfortable with yourself, they're going to feel uncomfortable talking to you. And I think basically the makeup, the nails, the walk, whatever it is, those are things that just make you feel more comfortable with who you are and make you feel better about it.
I consider myself a transgender fashion activist, and I have some wild, I mean, this is a woman's belt tie, but I use it as a sash like they do in Japanese videos, and these are J-pop chains. But I usually try to wear at least one piece of female clothing. I have a glittered red tie, get nothing but compliments on it. But the first time I went out really looking sporty, because I was a real nerd, I was a real dork. You'll see in the video I gave you where I take Sylvia Rivera around the pier. I only got interested in dressing up at the age of 69. What a pathetic thing. But it just was terrifying for me to go out. I walked out and I thought, oh God, and what I got were people complimenting me. Women would stop and ask me to be photographed with their husbands with New York City as a background. And I thought, this one has no earthly idea I'm even gay. If you pull it off right, what I'm trying to get is that if you're lucky, you will get your confidence through experience. Now I've gone out, I think I've had one day, I was wearing a bright woman's gold scarf one night, and one guy said, "Why do you have that thing on?" I really didn't know what to say. I didn't say anything. I was smart enough not to feed the fire, but I almost always get positive reactions. Do you think that most trans people get their confidence that way, or do a lot of them go out and don't really succeed in passing and get a negative reaction, which maybe makes them even more timid? What would you think most experiences are like?